Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. Senior Israeli intelligence officials confirm that the Islamist Hamas is deliberately starving Israeli hostages. Israel is preparing for a new method of warfare versus the Islamist Hamas in the Gaza Strip amid a prolonged deadlock in talks. Lebanon's Iranian proxy Hezbollah rejects demands for disarmament. Today marks 668 days since the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates launched their heinous attack on October 7th of 2023 against Israel's southern communities, murdering some 1,200, mostly civilians, wounding over 4,800 others, and kidnapping 251 people, including elderly, men, women, children, and infants, 50 of them still in Hamas captivity, with up to 20 believed to be alive. However, with diplomatic efforts evidently stalled, as Hamas refuses to negotiate in good faith, high-ranking Israeli defense officials are increasingly pessimistic about prospects of reaching a negotiated solution that would free the hostages. On Saturday, Hamas released footage of two of the Israeli hostages in captivity as part of the terror group's psychological warfare, purporting to show Rom Braslavsky and Evyatar David, respectively, severely emaciated. According to senior intelligence officers, Hamas has been deliberately starving the hostages, holding them in substandard conditions and torturing them physically and emotionally. The officers revealed further that Hamas has severely worsened the hostages' conditions in recent months alone for fear of possible IDF rescue missions. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu released a film statement in response in which he emphasized Jerusalem's growing resolve to return the hostages home.
אזרחי ישראל היקרים, כמוכם גם אני הזדעזעתי אתמול. ראיתי את סרטוני הזוועה של הבנים היקרים שלנו, רום ואביתר. צלצלתי למשפחות, חיבקתי אותם בשמי ובשם רעייתי, גם בשמכם. תראה אותם נמקים בצינוק, אבל המפלצות של החמאס שעוטפות אותם, להם יש זרועות אבות בשר, יש להם כל מה שהם צריכים כדי לאכול. הם מריבים אותם כמו שהנאצים הריבו את היהודים. וכשאני רואה את זה, אני מבין בדיוק מה החמאס רוצה. לא רוצה עסקה. הוא רוצה לשבור אותנו. באמצעות סרטוני הזוועה האלה, באמצעות תעמולת הזוועה השקרית שהוא מפיץ בעולם. אבל אנחנו לא נשבר. אני מתמלא בנחישות עוד יותר חזקה. לשחרר את בנינו החטופים, לחסל את החמאס, להבטיח שעזה לא תהווה יותר איום על מדינת ישראל.
It is important to know that tomorrow, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is scheduled to hold a meeting about future action in the Gaza Strip amid disputes over the various options for expanding it. A political official was cited by Israeli state media last night as saying that the emerging understanding is that Hamas is not interested in a deal, which is why the Prime Minister is pushing to release the hostages while achieving a decisive military victory. Meanwhile, in an outcry over Hamas's monstrous treatment of the hostages, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar called earlier today for an emergency session of the UN Security Council, which is set to be held tomorrow evening.
Terror states and organizations kidnap civilians in order to ensure their own survival and interests. Innocent civilians are inhumanely used as tools by terrorists to achieve their goals. In the case of Hamas, to force upon us their conditions, remaining in power in Gaza. This is a dangerous phenomenon that could happen tomorrow anywhere. The international community must make it not worthwhile for the terrorists. The world must put an end to the phenomena of kidnapping civilians. It must be front and center on the world stage. This is why I will head to New York tonight to participate in special UN Security Council session that I initiated, taking place tomorrow on the situation of the hostages. I thank the US and Panama for answering our call and helping convene this important and urgent meeting.
It is important to highlight that the heinous crime of deliberate starvation by the Islamist Hamas is taking place while Israel is once again flooding the Gaza Strip with humanitarian aid after an international campaign of disinformation drastically ratcheted up international pressure on Israel to grant the United Nations access via its old distribution methods, effectively reverting into an ill-advised methodology of distribution that has immediately fallen into the hands of the Islamist Hamas. Nevertheless, in light of evident deficiency, President Donald Trump's Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff visited Israel over the weekend, during the course of which aid distribution into the Gaza Strip was broadly discussed.
And I spoke to Steve Witkoff. He had a great meeting with a lot of people, and the primary meeting was on food. And he also had some other conversations that I'll tell you about later, but he had a meeting on getting the people fed, and that's what we want.
Following the visit by the American Special Envoy Witkoff, and as mentioned earlier, Israel has signaled that it is preparing to pivot to a new method of operation in the Gaza Strip, freeing the hostages amid decisive military victory, and that it will not wait for a deal with Hamas. Israel's decision, which is being formulated in coordination with the Trump administration, comes after months of deadlocked negotiations and dwindling hope for a partial ceasefire agreement. Turning to Israel's northern neighbor Lebanon, where President Joseph Aoun, in an address to Lebanese military officers over the weekend, urged the Lebanese Iranian proxy Hezbollah to relinquish its arms to the state amid rising pressure to do so by the United States.
واجبي وواجب الأطراف السياسية كافة عبر مجلس الوزراء والمجلس الأعلى للدفاع ومجلس النواب والقوى السياسية كافة أن نقتنص الفرصة التاريخية وندفع من دون تردد إلى التأكيد على حصرية السلاح بيد الجيش والقوى الأمنية دون سواها وعلى كافة الأراضي اللبنانية اليوم قبل غد.
President Aoun further revealed that Hezbollah's disarmament, which would essentially trigger an Israeli withdrawal from 5 strategic military posts in southern Lebanon, and would also cease Israeli strikes against Hezbollah's efforts to rebuild its power, in addition to an international pledge that would secure $1 billion a year for a duration of 10 years for the Lebanese army.
انسحاب إسرائيل خلف الحدود المعترف بها دوليا وإطلاق سراح الأسرى بسط سلطة الدولة اللبنانية على كافة أراضيها وسحب سلاح جميع القوى المسلحة ومن ضمنها حزب الله وتسليمه إلى الجيش اللبناني تأمين مبلغ $1 مليار أمريكي سنويا ولفترة 10 سنوات.
Following President Joseph Aoun's remarks, Hezbollah's Secretary General Naim Qassem responded in an address to the terror organization's followers.
كل من يطالب بتسليم السلاح يطالب بتسليم السلاح لإسرائيل. أمريكا تقول شيلوا الصواريخ وشيلوا الطيران المسير وسلموه كله وسلموا المتوسط وسلموا الخفيف بس بعد فترة من الزمن. طيب ليش يا حضرة براك؟ قال لأنه هذا السلاح يخيف إسرائيل. إسرائيل تريد أمنها. افهموا بالعربي المشبرح. هذا الزلمة بده السلاح من أجل إسرائيل، ما بده السلاح من أجل ضبط الوضع الأمني في لبنان.
The Hezbollah leader continued by claiming that anyone who supports the disarmament of Hezbollah essentially are supportive of the state of Israel.
لن نسلم لإسرائيل. أكثر من هيك أنا بدي أقول لكم كل من يطالب اليوم بتسليم السلاح داخليا أو خارجيا أو عربيا أو دوليا هو يخدم المشروع الإسرائيلي، شو ما كان اسمه، شو ما كانت صفته، شو ما كان عنوانه، وشو ما ادعى.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is indeed good to be back, as the days and months ahead are expected to be increasingly challenging. We will, of course, be here at the studios of TV7 in Jerusalem to update you daily on the latest. And during that time, I do encourage you to pray for the hostages currently in Hamas captivity. Pray also for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Furthermore, we are in need of your help since our productions are exclusively donation-based. Therefore, if you can, please do help TV7 with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.